to Zero to Hero, Become an AI ProPilot mentorship. We are thrilled to have you on board as we embark on this exciting 8-week journey to unlock the true potential of AI. Throughout this program, you will gain hands-on experience and in-depth knowledge integrating Microsoft Copilots seamlessly into your workflow to boost work quality and efficiency. By the end of this mentorship, you will be equipped with cutting-edge AI tools to boost your productivity and innovation. We are excited to see how you use these tools to transform your daily work, and we are excited to prepare you for the future, a future with AI. Join us. Perfect. All right. So today we'll be talking about Power Platform Copilots. This is gonna be a hands-on lesson. So copilots or AI, generative AI can be a bit unpredictable. So if things don't go according with plan, we'll improvise, we'll adjust, but we are going to get somewhere. So having said that, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, if some of the stuff that I'm about to present, you have different experiences, you are welcome to share it as we go. I'm leading the lesson today and next week, so I'm not in a hurry to finish the content that I had prepared for today. I can always cover some of it next week. But again, let's make this as interactive as possible. Deal? All right. Okay, so there are a number of copilots within a Power Platform, and you most likely have experienced them already. If you work with Dataverse, if you work with the Dynamics workloads, sales, customer service, so and so, field service, so on and so forth, you probably have seen copilots crop up in your UI, be it from a user perspective or as a maker, you saw it somewhere, okay? It shouldn't be news to you, but there are copilots within Dataverse, Power Apps, Composition, Power Automate, Power Pages, and Power BI. We'll attempt to look at all the copilots that are available within Power Platform. Hopefully we'll get there. If not, we'll try to make it to it next week. But again, the goal is to make this lesson as interactive as we can possibly make. Okay, here's a visual or a diagram that you've probably seen it multiple times in your experience within Power Platform. And every time you see it, some of the components, they either change names or they change logos, but the core idea of the parts that comprise Power Platform, they remain the same. Power BI to expose data, Power Apps to function as a layer for incoming or input, data input, Power Automate to automate processes, Power Pages to have that same level of input or presenting present information to external customers. But then you have the supporting technology for Power Platform. You have a number of connectors that Microsoft has made available and continues to increase that list of connectors that are available. You have this one new guy, if you will, in the middle here that was called multiple things in the past. So we now have Copilot as a core part or supporting piece of Power Platform. And you have also Dataverse, okay? Dataverse in this picture will play it plays multiple roles, one being a database service, but also the mechanism that allows you to properly manage ALM for Power Platform, as all the solutions and moving solutions, environment management and so on is played within Dataverse, okay? Within Power Platform, you have Copilots available for all parts that are listed here, or at least one Copilot that interacts with pretty much every single application or supporting technology within Power Platform. In Dataverse, you now have a Copilot for data modeling, and we're going to have a look at that. When it comes to Power Apps, you can have Copilots assist you composing an app, enhancing the app, and also Copilot can become a component of your app. That's for both Canvas apps as well as model-driven apps. You have Copilots available within Power Pages. You can create sites, you can extend the contents of a website, you can create forms, you can create all sorts of components using a Copilot. When you bring that to a pro dev perspective, you can also have Copilot, that is GitHub Copilot, available for you to extend the code of your Power Pages. Okay, within Automate, in the four main areas of Power Automate, you can experience Copilots. If you are creating a cloud flow, you can go from natural language, that is text, to a flow. You can use Copilot to explain what a flow is doing. You can open an existing flow and ask Copilot, tell me what the heck this flow is doing, and it will try its best to provide you an answer. Works pretty good. I've used it in the past, not only through demos that I prepare, but also real life scenarios. You can also ask Copilot for support on writing a formula or an expression within Power Automate Cloud Flows. You can use Copilots if you are assessing a process within process mining. You can use Copilot to help you out. If you are developing a desktop flow, you can use Copilot to help you there. And I think this is one area that for people who are into RPA and developing desktop flows, you want to invest time exploring, is the recording to flow feature of desktop flows. So you can record a section showing exactly what the process you have at hand, the process that you want automate, and Copilot will translate that recording to a flow. So that's pretty cool. And it was presented in the Power Platform Community Conference, and I believe it's available for preview now. Not sure if we'll get to it today, but I wanted to let you know that it's available if you are working with RPA today. All right. You can use Copilots from an admin perspective within Power Automate. You can access it. You can analyze a Power Automate execution activity. You know how many users are calling it. How long did it take to execute a particular flow? So all of that information is available within the admin panel, and you can use Copilot to summarize information for you on the fly. You can also use admin features within Power Automate to instruct you on what kind of licensing is required for a particular flow within Power Automate. To me, this is an amazing feature of Copilot within Power Automate, and it's one feature that I wish Microsoft would extend to all the other products within Power Platform. Can you imagine the day that you show a site or you load a site within the admin area for Power Pages, and then you ask Copilot, tell me what kind of licensing do I need today to run this site. Here's what my customer thinks is going to be the load, number of users, how often people will use the site, and then have Copilot come up with an estimate of what licenses, number of licenses, and types of licenses that are required for you to complete a project. So that to me is an amazing feature of Copilot within Power Automate. All right. So let's dive into it and let's see what's available for us. So on this screenshot, what you have here is the Copilot navigation or user experience for data modeling within Dataverse. And we are going to walk through this here in a second, but I want to show you what it looks like. We are essentially going from speech or, sorry, from text to a data model within the maker website for Power Platform. And I'll show you how I arrived here, but essentially my prompt was create an app to manage student course registration, including students, course registration, instructors, and departments. And it came up with this data structure. And in a minute or so here, you see that it also not only creates the table or suggests a table structure for you, but it also includes sample data. So we can start with a model that has data, it has a table structure, it's got relationships, and from this point forward, we can extend it with maybe our app or any other product that we need to use integrated with this data model. So this is super cool. Now, what are the limitations with this data model? And I believe as we start to use and as we report errors to Microsoft, things will get better over time. But the limitations that I've seen so far is that I cannot include existing tables to this particular ERD. Now, I believe it's Microsoft's intention that ERDs would be flexible enough for us to include existing tables and even maybe remove some of the relationships and draw it to the right places. For example, if I was creating a data model for this particular problem statement, I would not create a table for a student. I would most likely use the contact table, and the same for instructors. If instructors are employees of this particular organization, I would use the Dataverse system user table instead of creating a new one. Okay, so that is the limitation. It does not infer to existing tables, neither does it allow me to add existing tables here. But I don't think this is how it's going to be forever. I think Microsoft is going to allow us to add existing table in the long run. Okay, so that is one limitation. Um, the second limitation is it's not necessarily a limitation of this user experience, but rather the way that any new feature works within Power Platform. If I were to confirm that I am satisfied with this data structure, as soon as I click Save and Exit, it would create tables and columns and all of the stuff using the default solution that is available within my environment. So prefix of the objects would be the CR and then a bunch of numbers underscore and then the name of the table. So if I don't want this to happen, what I do is I create my own solution. Therefore, I create also my publisher and I make that solution the preferred solution in the environment, and then I come here to create my model. Again, we're gonna walk through this here in a second, okay? But those are the things that I find it cool within this new user experience. I'm not sure if any of you has used this before. If you have and you wanna maybe raise your hand or give me a reaction, or even if you wanna unmute and share your experience, you feel free to do that at this time, okay? And let me know your feedback. All right, so what we got here next? Canvas apps. All right, Canvas apps also has a Copilot experience. You get to it by accessing the home page of your Maker website. And in this page, you have an area to include a prompt. You notice that there are some suggestions here up top, but you can always add your own prompt here. Again, if you go through this experience, it's going to create the data structure, and then it's going to create an app for you to extend, okay? And if you're creating those objects in your environment, you must, in my opinion, you should first create a solution file and define what is the publisher for that solution so that the schema name for those objects are kept in a way that you want. All right, so we are going to pause the presentation for a second and we are going to do a hands-on experience, okay? And you are welcome to um, try this if you have a developer environment later on at your own time and maybe share your experience with us. All right, so I have my environment. The environment is called AI ProPilot. First thing I will do is I'm going to go to the solutions area. I'm going to create a new solution. I'll call it AI ProPilot Customizations. All right, and in here I will create a publish. We'll call it ProPilot. The prefix, we're going to make it ProPilot as well. Save. I will select my publisher, click create. So now I have my solution. For now, I will leave it as is. I'll click to go back, and using the three dots, I will make this my preferred solution. Okay, apply. Move this to the side. All right, so we are going to go to the home page here. And we're going to use this prompt to say, I want to create an app to manage student course registration, including students, courses, registrations, instructors, and departments. And we're going to hit next. And it's going to do its work. Hopefully it's not going to take very long. Let's wait for it. All right, so we got our table structure, and we can now play with the design. So I can click here on the three dots and see the options associated to this table. So I can click on properties. It will show me the name of the table. I can extend to see the schema name. You notice that it's using my ProPilot schema name. Okay, that is so far the only set of options that I can play with. I can click again on the three dots, click to view data. And in here, you notice that I have some sample data preset for me, the relationship, fields, and the registration date. If I want, I can add a new column, or I can add more data here as I wish. I could tell Copilot to fill up more data in this example as well. What other options? I can change the role, the ownership of the record if I want. I can play with the relationship. If I don't want a relationship, I can remove. I can add it. So I have a lot of flexibility there. There is also additional options here on the side. Not only you can play with adding, giving more instructions to Copilot using natural language, but you can look at examples of prompts that you can use. So if you have an Excel file or SharePoint list, you can do imports, you can change things, you can remove. So there are different prompt suggestions here on the side that you can use to further refine your layout. But suppose I'm satisfied with it. I say, okay, let's save and open the app. while it's going, if you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to ask, either via chat or if you want to unmute yourself, you feel free to do that. Quick reminder that everything that I'm doing here, I'm doing on a trial environment. So you notice that there are no limitations to this particular use of Copilot. So you can try on your environments. If it's a developer environment, it should work as well. Okay, let's see what this app looks like when it shows up. Sorry for the delay, but that's the price for a real live demo type of presentation. I have no control over how fast Microsoft can go. Okay, loading. Come on, come on. Alrighty, so we have our app. I'm gonna click skip here and I will run the app just to show you that we actually have data all based on a single prompt. So this works great if you have to do a POC, if you have to present it to some clients, you have a tight deadline and you want to show something, you want to prepare for a meeting. Of course, as I mentioned, existing tables cannot be added to that model design. So you'd have to do additional work if you didn't want to use, the instructor table as a custom table or even the student table. But even if you had to do the extra work outside of the particular designer, it still gets you far in this particular setup. So the amount of work that you'd have to do if you had to do it from zero, creating a table, creating fields, defining the field types, dragging the fields to a specific form, so on and so forth, it's massive work compared to what we have done here in a few minutes. So this is great stuff. So let's have a look at Copilot within the Canvas app experience. Okay, I am not a Canvas app guru. So what I'm about to show you is from my level of expertise. If we have gurus in the phone call or in this lesson, and you want to also share your input, feel free to raise your hand and we'll pass on the mic to you. But this is what I think is super cool with Copilots within Canvas app. So first of all, you can use Copilot to explain to you what a formula does. So this is a simple formula, it's just a color. But say that there is a formula that's multi-line and you have all sorts of stuff that you want to that is being executed on a formula and you have no idea what it's doing, you can refer to it, ask for Copilot to explain it to you. The other new feature that's available within Canvas apps is the ability to view code. So this is still on the preview. So if you have played with YAML before, with Canvas app and whatnot, this is your best friend, okay? It's amazing that it's there now. It's been a request from the community in the past, okay? So the other thing that I find pretty cool with Copilot within Canvas apps is that you can ask it to make changes to your app, okay? It doesn't work as perfectly as a code-based Copilot would work, so like GitHub Copilot, for example, but it still helps you. So I'm gonna demo you a particular feature or a particular way that I've used Copilot in this capacity. You may think it's super simple, but I'm a lazy guy. If I love to code, but if I don't have to code, better. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to extend this course page, maybe to show the student registration in this particular page as well. So let's see if I still have the Canvas app skill. um, Hopefully I do. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to find where's my container. Let's add a container here to this section. All right, that's my container. I will add a vertical gallery to this, and I need to select the data source. The data source is there. I will close Copilot here for a minute, go to the property window. Okay. I wanted to stretch from side to side. Hopefully I will remember how to do that. If not, we'll let it look ugly, I suppose. Where is it? Victor. All right, let's just go with the flow here. All right, the data source, it's indicating that's registration. But what I want to do is let's see what the data source is for this guy, and we'll play the same way. So this item course, so we're gonna do this as this item dot, come on, am I in the right place? I am not. Registration. All right, so it's still there. Select the whole thing. Label this item, comma. Okay, courses. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Okay, let me go to the formula, I guess. What I'm gonna ask Copilot is to do maybe conditional formatting, where we say display date as read if date is older than 1 month. I should have probably used the name of the field. It should be display, display registration date as read if older than 1 month. Okay, I might have to be more specific as to using the name of the field. Oh, it's showing created on. I don't want to create it on. Let's change that with registration date. Okay. Let's try Copilot once again. if it is older than 1 month. Ah, come on, Copilot. I have enough information here. It's not helping me. It was doing it correctly yesterday. So let me see if I need to use the actual name of the field, Title 6. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's use that. Why? In this case, it should be the other way around. Maybe this guy cannot convert date. Is it already a date field? Let me apply that and play with the formula as it created. Okay, today minus text in month. Yeah, that should have worked. If it's greater than 1, should be red. If not, should be black. Somebody unmuted. Mark, did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, it's the text. It's not gonna work in a date diff parameter. It would have to be converted, or I don't know if Title 6 has the value somewhere as plain.
Is that plain date?
Yeah, maybe date value will work.
I'll play with the formula here just to showcase. Yeah, I think it's not doing the conversion correctly. All right. So in that sense, you see that if I was doing this in code, plain code, you see a better result than in the experience, the maker experience or a low code experience. And this is what I find with this copilots is that a lot of times it doesn't understand the full scope of what you're asking for because it maybe cannot infer to the whole application and provide you better results, I suppose, compared to you using Copilot within a code file. So you're looking at just one file, it understands the full context of that file, and therefore it can provide you better result, right? But this is what I find with these experiences within the maker side of things. And the same is true for Dataverse. You know, creating a table, asking it to change a data type, or creating a more comprehensive relationship, sometimes it doesn't resolve well. But for assistance on formula concepts, maybe telling you what a formula does, it works a lot better. And there is also how transitory results are, meaning how different they can be depending on the time of the day, right? I built a similar app yesterday, and I got the result that I wanted with the same setup. So today it's not giving me what I need. Anyhow, but this is the support that you have from Copilot in from a maker perspective. You can ask it to help you with formula concept. You can help it can help you with some of the design. If you ask to change a color of a component, it will try to scan through the application and change that particular color. But if you say add a vertical gallery showing registrations associated to a course, I don't think it's gonna give you the result that you intend. Maybe in the future it will. Right now it gets lost. I found that I get better results if I use object names rather than data types, if you will. I said registration. Instead of saying registration, if I say the name of the gallery and what is the data source associated to this particular container, then it will give me better results. All right, but let's keep on moving. So the other scenario where Copilot can be leveraged within Canvas apps is more from a user perspective. You now, as a maker, you're not leveraging Copilot. You want to add Copilot to your app so that your users can take advantage of it. So let's add a container here. I'm gonna put this container maybe on the corner there. That's not where I want it. Let's go back, highlight the app, add a vertical container. That's not what I want. Usually puts on the side. Okay, I'll just go with the flow, I suppose. Okay, so we are going to add this Copilot to the container. And then the first thing it's going to ask me, what is the source or how you want this Copilot to act? So it can be tied to tables within Dataverse, and you can also leverage connectors um, from the stack. So you can use Office 365. You can use SharePoint to fill or to use data for intelligence for this Copilot. I'm gonna say that I wanna just add the course table for this Copilot, and of course my layout kind of sucks here, but we'll play this application just to see how it goes. I need to move this around a little bit. Maybe if I draw it this way, I can scroll down. I guess not. Yeah, the Copilot somewhere else, somewhere that I can actually view. Okay, let me do again. Vertical container. I don't want it at the bottom. Come on. This is gonna hate me. Okay, let me just at least make this taller. And I'll get rid of some of these components here just to give us space. Okay, let's add the Copilot once again. Now my stuff is broken. Sorry, I should have saved my app yesterday for this demo. At least we would save us time. Okay, Copilot. Still is not gonna show us the way we want. Let's hit play. Full screen. All right. Tell me info on courses. Come on, Copilot. All right, so it's just making an inference to the Dataverse table and then showing information that's available on that table. Now, I made a simple connection between Copilot and the course table within Dataverse, but you can add other data sources to your Copilot. And not only that, this control can actually connect to a custom Copilot that you build in using Copilot Studio. So you can use that to extend Copilot and provide this type of information there as well. So that is it for Canvas apps. Now, there are features of Copilot within the model driven app, and I think those are super cool. So let's go back to the presentation real quick, and I'll walk through those changes, and then we're gonna deep dive into it with a live presentation as well. Okay. So in terms of AI assistance within model-driven app, if you want to leverage those features, you first need to enable some of them within your environment. So this AI prompts is one, excuse me, AI form fill assistance is another new feature. And I'm not sure if you saw the demos within Ignite last time, but you can turn smart paste on. AI suggestions for formulas, columns, also you can turn it on. All of these features are in preview. And then to me, natural language grid and view search is the coolest feature available within model driven app. Okay. So the smart copy, the way it works is you can copy the contents of a file or an email, and you can then trigger the smart copy analysis by clicking on the small icon, and it's going to parse the information and move the data to specific fields as they make sense to be there. All right. So this not only works for text content like email or a Word document, but it also works if you copy a full row from Excel. So if you copy a row from Excel, bring it to the clipboard, then you activate Smart Paste, it will parse the information and apply it to the right fields within the form. So to me, this is really cool. If you ever worked on moving data, or if you have worked with data entry in a company, you can appreciate how this how cool this is for folks who are pretty much in the front line, just inputting data from system to system. Okay, of course, you could write a Power Automate flow to do this, but for the day-to-day person who's working with Dataverse or Dynamics 365, this is a great improvement. So the next one is the natural language search. My screenshot here is not super great, but I do have an environment that has this enabled. So we'll take a look at it in action. All right, so if I go to a page, you notice that it changed the presentation a little bit. Right now, I don't have a way to select views and whatnot, but I can use natural language to filter and sort this column. So I can say, show me articles with sensor or associated with sensors. Okay, this worked, but let's try again. Let's try one more time. Show me articles related to sensors. No matches found. Come on, Microsoft. Let's remove the filters. Oh, that contains sensor as keyword. Okay, that should do the trick. Perfect. All right. So you notice here that it took my instruction and then it converted to filters that you can either remove or at least inspect and make sure that um, they are they make sense in terms of what was written as filter. So let me try a little bit more complex filter. So let's do articles related to the GNSS topic. All right. So this one's a little bit more refined and it's looking into in a related table to bring the results. Okay. So I think this is going to work great for people who are not very familiar with um, building advanced find. They can use natural language to filter the data, but of course, as you saw, my first couple prompts did not yield good results. So we're gonna have to relearn how to do this, or I will have to learn how to properly compose a prompt, one that's it's grammar proof and also makes sense. Mark, I think you have a question or comment.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you click on edit filters, are you able to download the fetch XML that it uses?
I believe so. Yeah, you can even extend more here. So I guess the UI for it remains the same. I mean, they moved this to action buttons that were here to the top, but you can still play with it. What I'm not seeing here anymore is the option to save this as a custom view or personal view anymore, right? Maybe they're gonna move this somewhere in the UI that still allows users to save it, but it was taken away. Or maybe they will expect that people will go back and look at the history here and just use that. Does that answer the question, Mark? All right.
Sorry, I had to
So
leave for a
go ahead.
second. Sorry, I had to leave for a second. I got a phone call.
Yeah, so I was showing that the options are available up here. So you can still download the fetch. But one of the options that I think is missing is the ability to save the view as a personal view. That was taken away, unless it's here. Oh, it's here. Good. So users can still save it, and I think it gives indication as to whether a view was generated via Copilot. Okay, so that is good. So this is pretty cool, but this is more on the user front, right? We talked about Maker in regards to Dataverse. You have Copilot assistance for modeling data, and this is more on the user end, how to leverage Copilot to execute your tasks day to day. So this is an option there. The other option that's available is surfacing Copilot as an option for the end user. In the same fashion that we put Copilot here in an app, you can add Copilot to your model-driven app, and this is what it looks like um, when it's activated and available to your users. Oh, come on. My screen's failing me. So you got Copilot on the side. I'm 100% sure that you've seen it on your environments. Some customers complain, please get this thing off my app. I don't need it. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, if you enable it, it's going to show up. Then users can actually interact with the data that they are seeing and they can ask Copilot to give insight on that data, to provide insight on the data. If you're looking at a sales order grid, you can ask Copilot to give you an average um, an average dollar figure for orders, active orders. You can ask Copilot to show your top 5 customers per revenue. You can do things like that, and Copilot will do it on the fly for the end user. So it does help the end user, especially if folks would need to export the data to Excel to get those numbers. You can actually have Copilot help you out from the application. So I think that's cool. All right, but that's it for uh, Dataverse, and we only talked about Dataverse in Power Apps so far. So I'll try to cruise here fast. We have 3 more minutes, and let's see how far we can go in this 3 minutes. I'm not going to talk too much about copilots within Power Pages. Reason being is because I did a whole mentorship on Power Pages and AI, and that includes Copilot. So there are 12 lessons available in uh, in my YouTube channel. So you can deep dive on that one. There are lessons for Power Pages on how to create sites, how to style sites, how to integrate sites with external data sources. If you want to set up B2C, blah blah blah, it's all here. So I think we don't need to spend much time talking about copilots there, but there is a lot of features. There are lots of features, Copilot features that is available in the Power Pages. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the videos. All right, the last product that we're gonna talk about before we go is Automate. Okay, as I disclosed in the beginning of the lesson, there are numbers. There's a number of Copilot features available within Power Automate for process mining, for desktop flows, for Automation Center, that is for governance, for admins, that is, and also for Cloud Flows. Today, the hands-on example is going to be in Cloud Flows. But before we get there, I have some screenshots of what Copilot looks like in the other areas. Okay, for process mining, and we have an expert here, Leoza is in the audience, I can see. If you have questions about process mining within Automate and how Copilot can assist you, I strongly advise you to follow Leoza and my friend Eric. They do a lot of talks about process mining, so they'll be able to help you there. But essentially, you can point to Azure to load or to feed process mining analysis, and Copilot will essentially do the rest for you. It will assess the assets and provide feedback and suggest changes to your process as you go. Okay. This next one is pretty cool. Again, if you work with RPA, I strongly advise you to look at the demos and look at the documentation that's available for you within Power Automate. What this is it allows you to record a full process, and then AI is going to inspect that recording and then set up a desktop flow for you. So it's recording to flow type of setup. Okay. So it's not only capturing what you're saying, but it's actually inspecting what you're doing on the computer to provide you information. Okay. All right. This is the one last step in terms of copilots available within Power Pages. And what this is presenting to you is just intelligence and a copilot experience, for admins of Power Automate. So you can leverage this to manage environments, to manage, the execution of flows, who is executing what, how long is it taking, what license do I have available, am I using your licenses, so on and so forth. So you can, with the help of Copilot, you can manage your environments properly. So again, if you are an admin, or if you are implementing Power Automate within a company and you need to train admins on how to manage it, I'd say take a look at what Copilot has to offer in that capacity. All right. Finally, we are landing on Cloudflow's Copilot experience. So you have two facets, or even three facets, when it comes to AI Copilot interaction within Power Automate Cloud Flows. The first one is you can go from text to flow. That is, you can create a flow through conversation, meaning you're going to input what you want this flow to do, and then Automate will suggest you a flow, and then from there you can enhance that flow through natural language as well. So what you see on the left is how you start, and on the right is how you further refine your flow. Not only you can do that, but you can also use Copilot um, for help with expression building and also overall setup of the flow. If you are working on a flow that you didn't compose and you don't know what the flow is doing, the flow is massive, you can ask Copilot to explain what the flow is doing. Now, unlike the other technologies or other products within Power Platform, there is a catch in terms of how you want to set up your prompts for Cloudflow. Okay, you need to tell Cloudflow Copilot, sorry, uh, what happens to trigger this flow and essentially what you want the flow to do. So you start by describing the trigger and then the action or actions for that matter. So a good example of a flow would be, or prompt for flow would be something like this. When an email arrives in my Outlook inbox, catalog that email in Dataverse. Or even if you want to be more specific, catalog the email content in the lead table, for example. So you always start with when, meaning what triggers the flow, and then you go into what you want the flow to do. Okay? So let's have a look at how we can compose it. I know that we are a little bit over time, but let's just take 1 minute before we go and try to compose a flow. Okay, I'll go back to my solution. And you notice if I try to create a flow from here, I won't have the prompt. It's the same for a table. If I create a table from this particular user experience, I don't get the Copilot assistance. So what I need to do is I need to go back. I will go to flows area, and then I'm gonna see, I should have seen a home page here. I might have to go to the flow website. Still don't get the Power Automate flow um, Copilot experience. So I may need to go straight to the flow website. Power Platform or Automate. And let's see. I just don't remember the URL. That's why I'm trying to fake it here. Okay. So don't hate me for that. Yeah, make.powerautomate.com. Okay. So in the homepage, we now have the Copilot input. You notice also that it gives me some suggestions of prompts. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say when registration. I don't want to do this in this particular environment. So sorry, let me switch the environment. When a registration is created, send email to instructor. And I might add a little bit more sauce here to this expression. in Dataverse, send an email to instructor. So let's see what it gives me in terms of suggestion. Creating a cloud flow, description of feature, administration. I might need to be more generic here. When a record is created in Dataverse, right? So it gave me a little structure to what I need to do. I'm gonna hit next. It will collect my creds, and then now I can extend this. You notice that it didn't pick the most optimal connectors, but it still did the job that I needed for this particular example. So I could fill up the details of this flow, or I can click on the Copilot here. And I'm not sure if it will allow me to replace some of these connectors, but let's give it a try. I haven't tried this, but let's say replace common data service connector with Dataverse connector. Yeah, so it won't do this for us, but you get the gist of it. Again, some of these copilots, they won't do things perfectly. To me, the way I find them to work the best is when I started with what I know, and then Copilot helps me with reference. So if I don't know or don't remember how a particular expression is laid out, or if I need to write a change on an expression that I have in place based on logic, new logic, if you will, then I find that Copilots will work best that way. And of course, the explaining what a flow does. I think it's the best scenarios where, at least at this stage, where Copilot's gonna help us to start with. Okay, this is essentially what I have for Copilots within Power Platform. I wish we had more time to get into a little bit of Power BI. I don't think we're gonna have time today. For next week, I'll probably take up that challenge again with Canvas apps. I don't think I delivered all that I needed to. Copilot didn't help me, but this time I'll save an app doing exactly what I want and then compare with Copilot is feeling like doing at that time. And also for the coming week, what I wanted to show you, and I'll give you just a little bit of an appetizer, is one new product that Microsoft is offering that I think is working better than what we saw with copilots. Looking at individual copilots today. Let me just show you a little bit of it before we go. Just put a little taste in your mouth before we dismiss today. So I will take the same prompt that we had um, beginning of the class. Let's wait for the site to load. Come on. Why is it not working, Victor? See if I go here, it's gonna be any faster. Yes, I guess environments won't help me today. It's just taking too long to load for some reason. Come on now. Yeah, we'll leave it for next week. But what we're gonna look into is a new product called Plan Designer. And instead, how Plan Designer, the way that Plan Designer differs from what we have seen today, is that we had to walk through multiple copilots to land into a particular solution, even though it was a concept of a solution. Um, the way Plan Designer works, we start with a prompt, and then Plan Designer will be in charge of creating all of the various assets associated with the broader solution. So you wouldn't need to go to Canvas apps to create an app. You wouldn't need to go to Power Automate to create the flow and all the areas of Power Platform. You would compose a plan of a solution, and then the plan designer is in charge of creating those various components, and then you would later on go to actual the different areas and extend those according to your requirements. But you wouldn't need to go step by step, copilot by copilot to get to a full solution. Plan designer would do it for you. Again, I'm not sure why my environments are taking forever to load. I wish I could show some of it to you today, but we'll leave it for next week. Okay. Sorry, I went over about 13 minutes. Any question, comments, concerns, suggestions that you want us to tackle for next week? You're all quiet. All right. Again, apologies that Copilot didn't behave the way I expected in some of the demos. I like to do demos. It's a risk I usually take, but not always. The Microsoft Tech helps me, but we'll get to the bottom of it. So again, next week, if all goes well, I'll show you that Canvas app finalized. Then we're gonna look at Plan Designer, and maybe we can do more hands-on work. And at that time, hopefully, things will work better. Okay. Um, if no, if we don't have any questions, I'll just dismiss the class, and we'll connect again next week. Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye.